ever notice that some companies become so famous, their names turn into verbs? You don't photocopy something, you Xerox it. You don't search the internet, you Google it. And you don't lubricate a squeaky hinge, you WD-40 it. That's when you know you've arrived. But here at Always Wondered, we decided to skip that whole decades of global brand dominance phase and just go straight to the verb. Because think about it, the name of this podcast is Always Wondered, and everyone has always wondered something at one time or another, right? See, the verb kind of works. Now, are we a multinational corporation generating billions in revenue? No. Do we have a stock ticker symbol? Also, no. And is our CEO earning 8 figures a year? Well, if you move the decimal point 5 or 6 places to the left, then maybe. But what we do have is plenty of curiosity. And if you do too, then you are in the right place. So let's put that verb to work. And welcome to the podcast that answers some of the questions you've always wondered about.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Hi, I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for joining us. We begin with a question that has divided humanity for ages. Have you always wondered why most of us are right-handed? I mean, if you walk into a room and ask everyone to raise their dominant hand, about 90% of the room goes up on the right side. And the other 10%? They're too busy looking for left-handed scissors to notice. Well, there is a good reason why righties dominate.
Was it because left-handers kept smearing ink across the page in grade school?
No, it was evolution. Eons ago, our brain's left hemisphere, which is usually in charge of language, was developing rapidly. And it turns out that the left hemisphere also controls the right side of our body.
Put simply, the left side of your brain is a bit of a control freak.
It's as if early brain development looked at ancient humans and said,
"You there, see that spear? Throw it with your right hand."
Plus, if most people used the same hand, then tools and weapons could be standardized, which made things much easier. So righties wound up dominating the population.
We're number 1! Better luck next evolution, lefty.
But here's a fascinating twist. In one-on-one combat, being left-handed can actually be an advantage because it's unexpected.
Wait, why is your sword coming from that side?
Studies show that in sports like fencing, tennis, boxing, and baseball, left-handers can have a small edge because opponents aren't used to them. So evolution decided not to phase out lefties.
Yes, it essentially kept them around as the plot twist of the human species.
Which is fantastic, because historically, we were not very nice to southpaws. First of all, language gave them a bad rap. The Latin word for left?
Sinister.
And in the Middle Ages, some cultures associated left-handedness with evil.
What's that shrieking? You must be a witch.
No, this spiral notebook is just digging into my hand.
And even into the 20th century, children were sometimes forced to switch hands in school. But today, it doesn't much matter. Righties exist because coordination and standardization helped early humans survive. And lefties stuck around because evolution said,
Sure, why not?
So in the end, we are all equal. Except when it comes to mechanical can openers.
Why is this thing backwards?
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Baseball season is here once again. The smell of fresh-cut grass, the crack of the bat, the soothing knowledge that over the last 150 years, America's pastime has given us some really weird stuff. So have you always wondered, what were some of the strangest moments in baseball history? Leading off our lineup of baffling oddities, baseball's most unexpected pinch hitter. In 1951, the St. Louis Browns, who would eventually become the Baltimore Orioles, were mired in last place. In order to shake things up, they signed an unusual player to a one-game contract.
Now batting for the Browns. Wait, is this for real?
Stepping up to the plate was Eddie Gaedel, all 3 feet 7 inches of him. The opposing pitcher was confused.
His strike zone is the size of a lunchbox. What am I supposed to do?
Gaedel walked on 4 straight pitches, took his base, and was immediately lifted for a pinch runner. So Eddie Gaedel finished his major league career with a perfect on-base percentage. And his uniform number was also retired. And the number he wore on his jersey? The fraction 1/8. Up next, baseball's favorite paperwork fever dream. Multiplayer baseball trades will sometimes include a player to be named later. So there have been 4 instances in MLB history where on paper, a player was literally traded for himself.
Kid, you're being sent to Cleveland.
Who am I being traded for?
Yourself.
Pretty even swap.
And finally, the moonshot. Hall of Fame pitcher Gaylord Perry came up at a time when pitchers also hit, and he was not very good at it. In the early 60s, his then manager Alvin Dark joked,
"They'll put a man on the moon before Gaylord Perry hits a home run."
Now fast forward to July 20th, 1969. At 1:17 p.m. Pacific Time, Apollo 11 touches down on the moon.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
At that very moment, the San Francisco Giants were playing at Candlestick Park, and Gaylord Perry was in the lineup. About a half hour after the PA announcer shared the news of the moon landing with the crowd, Perry comes up to the plate and, hits his first home run ever.
Holy cow!
Proving baseball isn't just a sport, it's like a 150-year-long weird blooper reel. And honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way.
The old ball game!
The Always Wondered podcast.
It's one of those phrases we've heard for years. So have you always wondered why we say someone is living high on the hog? I mean, just how high is this hog? Are we talking step stool, balcony, penthouse suite? Okay, first of all, this is not about someone literally climbing onto a pig and refusing to get down because the view is better.
It's amazing, Martha. I can see clear into the next county from up here.
Nope, living high on the hog actually comes from old-time butchering. Back in the 1800s, when farmers divided up a pig, the high parts of the hog, meaning the upper sections along the back, were the most tender, most expensive cuts of meat. We're talking pork chops, pork loin, bacon. Meanwhile, the lower parts, the belly, the legs, the feet, well, that was the more affordable everyday fare. So if you were living high on the hog, it meant you were dining on the premium stuff.
Why, yes, Reginald, we're quite comfortable this year. The hog has been most cooperative.
But by the early 1900s, the phrase moved from literal pork privilege to general prosperity. So if you had money, if you were comfortable, if your gravy boat had its own gravy boat, you were living high on the hog. And you have to love the honesty of the phrase. It doesn't say living high on the eagle or living high in the majestic elk. It says hog. Because apparently America looked at wealth and said,
"You know what symbolizes success? Well-placed pork."
So the next time you see someone splurging on something extravagant, a luxury vacation, a fancy car, or name-brand toothpicks, just remember, somewhere in the past, a farmer is pointing at a pig and saying,
"Yep, right up there. That's where the good stuff is."
The Always Wondered podcast.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Always Wondered. Remember, we have new episodes every Friday, and we'd love for you to subscribe. And you can find cool little videos of ours on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Oh, and hey, if you like this episode, tell a friend. And if you didn't like it, well then tell an enemy. Either way, we can hopefully continue to grow. All right. As always, we leave you with one to ponder. Have you always wondered, why are they called stairs inside, but steps outside? It's kind of weird. Until next time, stay curious and keep wondering. I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for listening.
The Always Wondered podcast.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and a review. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to offer suggestions for future topics or simply reach out to alwayswonderedpodcast@gmail.com.